Hey there, and welcome back to Common Knowledge, the show where I take a look at 10 common Magic the Gathering cards and tell you if they are any good in the Pauper format or not. Two things before we get started. First thing, thanks for subscribing to the channel. It seems like we have a lot of new subscribers lately, and that's cool. I don't know exactly what I did to deserve that, but I'll try to keep on doing it. Second thing, and let's go full screen. Let's go full face and look at this dirty room. But I've got some new cards that came in today. That's always exciting. And I'm making my own. There we go. Pauper Pack Beast, Salt Road Pack Beast deck, and some new cards just came for it today, like the Ardent Recruits. Ardent Recruits really useful in that. Look forward to when we get to talk about Ardent Recruit. Using the new Strixhaven Elite Interceptors, which are pretty cool. There's 12 of these inspector type guys in here. And then for one of the more expensive cards that came in today as well, my first Phyrexian Walker of 4. I weirdly have a I can't remember what language it is. Maybe French. I have a French one that I think came out of like a Mystery Booster 2 pack, or maybe just a normal Mystery Booster pack. Anyway, so hey, that deck is starting to come together. I'm still missing about 20 cards in it or so, but looking forward to playing that. My friend has a mono white deck, like a mono white weenie deck, a very traditional one, and so I was shying away from doing a mono white deck myself until I found, hey, here's a new take on it. It's a little bit different than the deck that they're playing. You know, no Rafine's Informant or anything like that. And it seems like it's been a cool deck, so I just wanted to give it a shot myself. And now it's starting to come together. I'm really looking forward to taking that to the LGS and seeing how it performs, because that seems like a really fast, really cool deck. Anyway, I'm not going to do a deck tech on it or anything like that. You've probably seen Pauper Pack Beast be played quite well in other places, so that's not necessary. But sometime I will show you some of my own brews that I've come up with, because I think there's some cool stuff in there as well. And some people have asked. I've mentioned a couple decks that I've built, and people asked maybe for videos or links to things. So we'll try to accommodate those things. But for today, we're gonna get back to the business, which is looking at 10 common Magic the Gathering cards. What's our first card going to be? Chilling Trap. Single blue mana for an instant. Target creature you control gets -4/-0 until end of turn. If you control a wizard, draw a card. Okay, a single mana for this, for -4/-0, that's not an insignificant amount of damage to prevent with a single mana, so I don't hate that. Although, a fog could prevent all the damage by all the creatures. But fog doesn't draw you a card. And this does if you control a wizard, which is pretty easy to do. There's lots of cards that even incidentally are wizards. And, if you play like Archaeomancer, wizard. If you play Ardent Elementalist, wizard. Right? Is that a shaman? No, Ardent Elementalist. Oh, he is a shaman. Oh, sorry, not him. But if you play Archaeomancer, then you're good. And there's a handful of other wizards that see a lot of Pauper play. You could just play Tim if you wanted to. I kind of want to. So this is neat, but where do you play it? Fairies deck might want it, but it already has the Humbling Elder and another card that does a very similar thing to this. It's -3/-0. Maybe it's even -2/-0, but it's still like a flash creature. It's also a creature that's able to do ninjutsu things if you've got your ninjas ready to go on the next turn. So I think those cards probably just end up having a little bit more value than Chilling Trap. But Chilling Trap is okay. It's okay, but it's not great. And if you don't get the card draw on it, then you really feel like a fool. And potentially don't actually play Tim. I know it said you could play Tim, and I would love for us to go back to decks that needed to play Tim, Prodigal Sorcerer, if you are not familiar. But you probably shouldn't play worse cards just so you can make this card slightly better. It probably just shouldn't be in your deck to begin with. I will give this a 2.4. Yeah, 2.4. Next is Knight of Cliffhaven, 1 and a white for a, it starts as a 2/2 core Knight, but it also has level up. Let's talk about level up. I will mention, I hate level up. I think level up is one of the worst mechanics in Magic. I've mentioned it before. I'll probably do a small diatribe about it again. But it has level up for 3, so when you pay 3 mana, you can put a level counter on this creature, and you level up only as a sorcery. So it starts with level 0, so there's no counters on it at all. So when you start putting mana into this, from level 1 to level 3, this becomes a 2/3 flyer. And when you get to level 4 or higher, this becomes a 4/4 flying vigilance creature. So I hate these. Now, it starts out as a grizzly bear. We've talked about grizzly bears. That's like a 2, right? I don't like paying 5 mana now to get a 2/3 flyer. That sucks. 5 mana 2/3 flyer? You should never pay that. But imagine paying another 3 mana and nothing happens. It's still a 2/3 flyer. Ugh, gross. And then imagine paying another 3 mana. Now you've paid 11 mana altogether, and still nothing happens. This is still a 2/3 flyer, and it's only when you've paid, what is this, 14 mana, it finally becomes a 4/4 flyer with vigilance. No. And you can only do this as a sorcery, so you have to spend that mana on your turn. You can't even hold it up in a control sense and then level up a time or two on your opponent's turn at the end of your opponent's turn. Am I reading these wrong? Have I been wrong about level up this whole time? I'm pretty sure I'm not. This is what the card says to do. You put a counter on it, and then it gets a level. This sucks. Imagine putting all this mana into this creature, and right before it goes into the 4/4 flying vigilance, you finally got to the 4/4 flying vigilance part, and you pay the mana for it, and then they lightning bolt your creature. And then all the mana you've put into it, poof, gone in an instant. I don't. Is there a rules information that's telling me something different? Like, please let me know. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I don't think so. Creature's level is based on how many level counters on it, not how many times its level of ability. Like, that's the only thing, right? Is if you have a proliferate deck, you can proliferate the number of level counters on this guy, and then get to that 4/4 flying vigilance faster and cheaper. But proliferate cards aren't free either. You're still putting a lot of mana into this. So unless you have a bunch of creatures that all have level up, and you're playing the proliferate effects that get them up there, I guess finally, you have a pretty good team. But that is a lot of resources to spend on things that are pretty fragile and only get marginally better. I think a 4/4 flying vigilance is fine. You know? It's a Sarah Angel, but it's a Sarah Angel that's cost you way more mana than Sarah Angel ever could possibly cost. It's ridiculous. I hate these cards. I really do. It is a grizzly bear, so I guess I have to give it at least a 2, and it does have a little bit more to it. But honestly, I can't do it. Imagine putting this in your deck and spending. It's asking you to spend more mana on this thing on your turn, and you're just giving your opponent way more opportunities to do anything to you. I hate it. I really do. I'm going to give this a worse than a 2, because I think it's a trap. I think they're all traps. I think these are all costed very terribly. And again, unless I'm wrong, and I don't think I am. So I'm going to give this thing a 1.6. Get it off my screen. God, I hate these cards so much. Griff Rider, 2 and a white for a 2/1 human knight with flying and training. Whenever this creature attacks with another creature with greater power, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. I think this is better than the last card. It starts with flying. Yeah, it costs more to get on the board to begin with, but A 2/1 flyer is not amazing for 3 mana. I'm not giving this a crazy score either, but the training is something that can happen every single turn. And when that happens, this card is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you haven't paid any more mana for it. So I just like it better than the last card that we saw. It's still not great though. It doesn't really have a place in your deck. Think of all the flyers in white that you can get for cheaper than this. This has no other special skills. It is a knight, I guess. I've talked about thinking a knight deck should be able to work in Pauper someday. I don't think Griff Rider is one of the cards that goes in there, but there aren't a lot of knights that fly at common. So I don't know. Maybe it fills a niche there. I am not going to be all that moved by it, though. I'll give this thing a 2.2. Cinder Crawler has incredible art on it. 1 and a red for a 1/2 salamander with pay a red. This creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Activate only if this creature is blocked. So it's got more conditional fire breathing. That's interesting. When I say interesting, it is bad, but it is at least interestingly bad. 2 mana for a 1/2 is not great. And I would say 9 times out of 10, your opponent is just going to let this thing get in. Who cares? It's just 1 damage. They don't really mind that much. But I guess if they do feel threatened by this and block it, then you can spend a ton of mana to probably trade with one of their creatures. Okay. I mean, if you put a bunch of auras on this or counters, or you beefed it up in some way where your opponent feels like they need to block it now, I guess they can start blocking it. But if the creature is big enough that your opponent feels the need to start blocking it, it's probably big enough to knock down some of their creatures without the fire breathing effect. I find this pretty unnecessary, other than you're kind of tricking your opponent into just letting this hit. So maybe you have other things that have combat damage triggers. Maybe this works with raid. If you've got a creature or a spell with raid that says, hey, if you attack this turn, you get some other bonus or you get a cheaper effect. I guess that's a thing you can do. I just don't think this is a very good card to do it with. I think you can find cheaper cards, better general cards that work in lots of different situations than Cinder Crawler. Yeah, it's cool though. Jim Nelson, I like the art, but I can't in good conscience give this anything better than a 2. Yeah, I think just a 2. Oh no. I've got to talk about combo decks. Pili Pala is 2 mana for a 1/1 artifact creature Scarecrow with flying, and you can pay 2 and untap this creature to add 1 mana of any color. So this is from Shadowmoor, which is Shadowmoor the only set that we've seen untap skills? Maybe there's one in a Modern Horizon somewhere. I don't think so. I think they realized real quick that this is busted. So the idea here is if you have infinite mana, generally infinite colorless mana, that Pili Pala is a way of getting infinite mana of any color. Because now you'll put on something that will be able to tap this creature, so you can tap it, spend all the mana, or spend the colorless mana to untap it, add a mana of any color, and then keep the loop going. I don't know all the Pili Pala combos. I'm not a combo deck player. I know there have been Pili Pala decks in the format before that have done quite well. I really have not seen much about this creature for a while. So I don't know if these combos are just a whole lot slower or if we've gotten enamored by pizza combos and things like that. But I just don't hear people talk about Pili Pala anymore. You still got to respect an infinite combo. I can't deny that this card has done some very good, very dirty things. But in terms of being part of the meta, just kind of doesn't show up anymore that I've seen, and that's kind of sad. I feel like we've lost a little something when cards of the past just don't cut it in the format anymore. I like it. He's a cute little guy, and he costs a little bit. $3. Even a list printing that costs more. I've never understood that. Like, the list printing should always cost less, right? I guess I got to dock a couple points, a couple tenths off from this, knowing that it's just not hitting as hard as it used to. But I don't want to knock it too much because infinite combos and such. Let's give this thing a 4.6. Yeah, I think 4.6 says, hey, this thing was Pauper playable at one point, and maybe a little less so now, but still has the juice occasionally. Yeah, not bad. Little Pauper history there. Oh, speaking of history, Werebear, baby, 1 and a green for a 1/1 human bear druid, and you can tap it for green, but it also has threshold. This creature gets +3/+3 as long as there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard. Werebear's I said classic before. I'll say it again. It's classic. I think this card rules. Originally from Odyssey, was in a World Champ deck. It's a Llanowar Elf and a Grizzly Bear, and it has this threshold ability that can make it kind of a scary threat later in the game. 2 mana 4/4 seems all right to me. 2 mana Llanowar Elf, Mana Dork, not great, but not terrible. And the idea that you have this flexible card that is good in the early game and the late game, I think makes this just a good card all around. This is the perfect cube card if you have any sort of strategy that plays with the graveyard. But man, Werebear, what a classic card. I don't think it's very good. I've never seen it in a Pauper deck or any sort of meta Pauper deck. But man, it's Werebear. You got the kids these days should know about Werebear. It's true. Know your history. Werebear gets a. I'm gonna give Werebear a 3. I don't know if it deserves it, but early game, late game, Mana Dork, it kind of does it all. It doesn't do any of it particularly great, but it does it all, and I appreciate that about it. Tundra Wolves. This is another pretty classic card. Single white mana for a 1/1 wolf with first strike. That's all it does. That's all it needs to do in some ways. When did this first come out? Legends. Wow. Yeah. Another classic Magic card. Look at it, baby. I do like that 8th edition art. I've had the 8th edition copy of this, but the old one with the blood is cool too, right? Tundra Wolves is fine. It's not good enough to be in the format. We talked about White Weenie at the top of this episode, and it doesn't go in the Go Wide White Weenie decks. It doesn't go in the Pauper Pack Beast deck that I just talked about, but it's 1/1 with first strike. You throw an aura on this or two, and this thing becomes really scary. But it doesn't go in. It doesn't go in Bogles either, because it's not a Bogle. It's too easy to take out. It just has no place, but it is a beautiful, beautiful little card. Man, maybe I should grab a 6th edition copy. I have a white border cube, and 5th or 6th edition version of that would be probably a pretty good addition. I might already have one, honestly. I can't even remember what's in that cube, but good card. We didn't give it a score, did we? No, we did not. I'll give it a 2.1. I think it's better than a Grizzly Bear, but not by much. Our next card would be Midnight Tilling, but we have done this card before, and not just for the Lorwyn Eclipsed preview video. It is really good. It's not a it's not a goodness. Forgetting the Rumble. What's the hell's the Rumble card? Malevolent Rumble. I was like, I know it starts with an M. I just don't remember what it is. Yeah, so it's basically a Malevolent Rumble, but it's not Malevolent Rumble. It doesn't quite have all the juice to it. You do see it sometimes if people play all the Malevolent Rumbles and they still will play a Midnight Tilling or so. That's cool, but we've scored it before. It's a good card, but it has a better card. So unless you're getting copies 5 through 8, there's really no reason to play it. Hired Poisoner is a single black mana for a 1/1 Death Touch human assassin. Human and assassin can be okay creature types. Maybe not as much in Pauper, but they're not bad. We've seen plenty of 1/1 Death Touchers for a single mana. They're fine. They have their place. We have ones that are artifacts that I think would probably get played more just by the virtue of being an artifact and being able to up your artifact count. But these are fine. Nothing super special. I think we can go with something like a 2.4. Yeah, I'll go as high as a 2.5, but you could probably find better. Oh, God, we've been hitting all the classics today. This is definitely in the white border cube. I know that for a fact. Lost Soul is 1 and double black for a 2/1 spirit minion with Swamp Walk, which means it can't be blocked as long as defending player controls a swamp. It's a pretty almost naked woman in there. So, middle school, high school me was like, well, you gotta have a copy of that, right? It's not a good card. Even if your opponent's playing swamps, it's still not a very good card. It's 3 mana for a 2/1. But lady. It's had the same art the whole time. You can't change the art on this one. Nobody would care about this card if it didn't have the lady on it. So good job, Randy Asplin Faith. But the card itself, not very good. It's oh boy, how bad is it? It's like a 1.3. It's really bad. Next is Glistener Elf. Single green mana for a 1/1 Phyrexian Elf Warrior with Infect. It's Infect, everybody. We have better Infect creatures than this. We do. It's not terrible. You get your 1/1 out there on turn 1 if they don't have a turn 1 play, or they don't have a turn 1 creature play, or can a removal spell on turn 1. You put that poison counter on them turn 2, and then you just go on to proliferate. So that's okay. I mean, that's a fast way of doing it, but we also have other cards that just allow us to put poison counters on the opponent. Infect is pretty good in that it's also -1/-1 counters on the things that block it or the thing that it blocks, so it is a way of dampening your opponent's creatures. If you can buff this thing at all, then it becomes a real problem to deal with. It's good. It's good, but I think we have other cards that are more effective in that strategy than this. Yeah. But I like this. I like those promos. I don't really like the Ferguson language thing. I know it's cute that they actually came up with a real language, and that's neat. But I generally don't really like those cards. How do we give this thing? I think it deserves a halfway decent score. I'll give a 3.2. Yeah, I think we can go 3.2, just knowing the things you can do with it. But I think we probably have. I'll bump it even higher than that. I'll go like a 3.5. It might even be index. I don't play a whole lot of Infect, but I have seen Poison Storm stuff, and this doesn't really go in Poison Storm. But I don't know. Maybe there's an Infect deck that cares about it. Maybe I'm really discounting this. Maybe it should be closer into the 4s somewhere. You let me know. Infect is really good. Bite effects also pretty interesting on this because it would just put the -1/-1 counters. You know what? Fine. I'll do it. I keep bouncing this up. I'll go for a 4.2 on this. Cool card. Let's do a bonus card. Call it a day. Spider-Man No More. 1 and a blue for an enchantment aura that enchants a creature. Enchanted creature is a citizen with base power 1/1. It has defender and loses all Other abilities. Hey, it's another piece of removal. So this one's, I mean, in the pantheon of all these cheap blue auras that kind of act as removal, this one's okay. Giving the creature defender is the biggest thing here. Well, I mean, having it lose all other abilities is also important, but it giving the creature defender is the thing that makes it different from a lot of other ones. We see unable to scream. Unable to scream, puts them as a 0/2, and they lose all abilities and they become an artifact. I guess that's potentially useful, maybe even useful for them. But this is a single mana, but it's a 0/2 that doesn't have defender, so it could still attack if they put counters on this thing or whatever. It still can attack. So this was a pretty good one that people used for a little while. We also see Blossom Bind. We've talked about this on the show before. I think Blossom Bind is one of the better ones that we've seen lately that has taken hold in a couple of decks. I actually have it in Mono Blue Fairies, my Mono Blue Fairy deck, because it's nice in that it taps the creature and that the creature can't become untapped and can't have counters put on it. So that's kind of nice in stopping a couple other things. It doesn't turn off its abilities though. And that can be a real bummer if they have a creature that is more about its abilities. But if you have a creature that's more about its abilities, I think you use targeted removal or you just attack into it. Like those are creatures that probably aren't attacking because they're a little bit more squishy, so you hold them back. But something like a Gurmag Angler or something that isn't a threat as long as it's not able to attack or block, Blossom Bind does a really good job on that. We've seen a handful of these cards that have tried different things on this one. I think Spider-Man No More is fine. The Defender is pretty cool to really stop it from going onto a big threat. But it's still being able to block, I think, does make it a little worse than Blossom Bind in many ways. It's a tough call. They're all pretty good. None of them are leaps and bounds better than the others, but they all have niche uses that are the best in one scenario or another. And this one, I don't know, it kind of goes in the mix with all the other ones. It's fine. We'll give it a 3.5. Yeah, 3.5. Just it's a massive a bunch of other 3.5 3.5 blue removal-y kind of spells. Yeah. Bit of a weird one to end on, but that's what we're gonna do. We will see you next time on Common Knowledge. See ya.